Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Heng has announced many measures to help workers stay relevant in this innovation-driven economy. What do businesses make of it? Let's ask Lam Yi Young. He's CEO of the Singapore Business Federation. Good evening, Mr. Lam. DPM Heng, he announced a slew of initiatives aimed at helping businesses and workers over the next 3 years. $24 billion set aside. How can these measures support firms as they deal with this changing competitive landscape?
Well, in the budget today, we heard a slew of measures announced by DPM, and these will serve to help the companies in their transformation, innovation, and capacity building efforts, and will help them in terms of recovery and growth in a post-pandemic world. And it's also important to note that what was announced today don't represent all the support measures that are available to companies. Rather, they add on to the existing range of measures that are already available to companies. And together, actually, there is quite a comprehensive set of measures to help companies in their transformation efforts.
And one of those programs, of course, is the SG United Jobs and Skills Package. It's going to get an extra $5.4 billion boost. Now, of this, $5.2 billion is going to be allocated to extend the jobs growth incentive for another 7 months. So to what extent will this additional support, sort of cushion the pressure that companies are feeling?
I think the Jobs Growth Initiative, the extension of which will be very much welcomed by companies because it provides them additional support to bring forward their hiring. And with the support, they can hire more people. And this also helps us to deal with the overall employment situation in Singapore.
Right, there's also the capability transfer program. We were expecting perhaps it might be extended. It is being extended to 2024. And this one, of course, specifically supports foreign to local skills transfer. There are sectors, of course, especially those in new growth areas, where Singapore might be short of skills. So which sectors in particular, to you, Mr. Lam, are going to benefit the most from this extension? What are the challenges that they face?
Right. Okay, the capability transfer program really benefits sectors where there is a shortage of skills in Singapore and where foreign expertise can add value and make us stronger, both at the company level as well as at the national level. So some examples of sectors that will benefit from this are advanced manufacturing, digital, and deep tech, where there is really a lot of global competition for such talent and where there are some skills gaps in Singapore, which the capability transfer program can help us to build up the local talents for.
So, Mr. Lam, the Singapore Business Federation has for a very long time done a great deal to support local business. You've given advice, you show them how they can use free trade agreements, the many that Singapore has with so many countries around the world. How's SBF going to help local businesses with this news that S-Pass quotas are going to be cut in the next few years? It isn't a very long lead time before this cut comes into force.
Right. I think for this, particularly for the manufacturing companies, there are two things that they can do to prepare themselves for the cut in the S-Pass sub-DRC. The first is in terms of adopting technology and automation to reduce reliance on manpower. And the second area is in terms of redesigning some of the jobs to make it more attractive to Singaporeans so that they can better recruit Singaporeans to fill those positions. And as an example of what SBF is doing, one of which is the Industry 4.0 Human Capital Initiative, where we're helping companies to adopt I 4.0 technologies in order to increase productivity and reduce their manpower needs.
Mr. Lam, it isn't an understatement to say that in the last year with this pandemic, companies, big and small, have felt a lot of pain, a lot of trauma from what's happened. The government has done what it can to support different sectors, but that support can't last forever. So in the meantime, what's your assessment of just how far this budget is going to go into helping businesses, both big and small, to tide over the next 6 to 12 months?
Right. I think, as you said, the support measures cannot last indefinitely, and companies really need to look at alternative sources of revenue, look for new business opportunities, So for those who are in sectors that have good growth prospect, we want to help them to seize opportunities, expand overseas and grow their business. For those that are in areas that are facing a lot more structural challenges, and I think some of these companies, they were facing challenges even before COVID. So what we can do to help them is to help them in terms of pivoting into other areas of growth. It may involve changing their business model, changing the area of business in order to go into areas where there is better prospect and better growth.
They must be on the hunt for those opportunities. Mr. Lam, thank you very much for being with us this evening. We've been speaking there to Lam Yi Young, CEO of the Singapore Business Federation.